The recording. Good morning, good morning. This is Maria Flynn. I am the Facebook page owner of One Wise Life and the creator of OneWiseLife.com, a digital magazine with articles chock full of value from coaches that I know, like, trust, like Miss Lauren Jano, who is with us today, who is an elite high performance coach. I love our friendship. I love that you join us every day. I am inspired by the articles that you write, and this week's show is inspired by your most recent article about visualization. So I'm thrilled to pieces. I have questions for you today.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
Wonderful. Okay, so we always start the show, or I start the show generally with a meditation of what comes through sort of on my side of what visualization is. And today's message was short and punchy for meditation. So I'll just share that. And the message was this, and I always write it down. Your mind is constantly visualizing. It's only important that you have a choice in the matter. So be the director and direct. Wow. That was it. And I thought, boom, there's the message. Be the director and direct. And it's true. I mean, as much as I carve out time for visualizing, our mind is constantly visualizing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And we see things in pictures. So when you think of something, when you remember something, you remember the picture of it. Like it's like a photo album, right? It's not, you don't remember the words, you don't remember it written down. You remember the picture of whatever it was. And so that's how our minds work. And so let's leverage off that. Let's use that to help us with whatever we need help with.
I love that. Yeah, that today's message, when that came through, I'm constantly a director, and I have to be aware of that above and beyond the time that I carve out for visualization. That to be aware that your mind is constantly doing that means that it's a constant daily practice to be directing those things that we're seeing and those things that we're remembering. Okay, so right off the bat, just for those that are watching the show who maybe are new to visualization, right off the bat, what are the immediate benefits of visualization?
My perspective is that it helps to put out there what we want. It helps us to connect with what we want. It helps us to get comfortable with what it is we want. And so, on an energetic perspective, it's going to help to bring that into your life. But on the other hand, it's going to help you to deal with that situation when it happens, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. So to me, it's working from both aspects. It's putting it out there what you want and desire, but at the same time, it's taking you through the motions of that experience. So when it happens, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I've been here before. I've done this before. And it feels more comfortable, and therefore you have more confidence in that situation.
So you create your own deja vu, basically.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, well said. Yeah.
Okay, so is visualization, and you briefly touched on this point in your article, is visualization something that's becoming more standard, more taught in industries like sports, but also in the corporate world, in the leadership world?
Well, I think visualization has been used in sports for a long time, and like with a lot of things from sports and the theories and that we know about how athletes train and how they reach those high levels of performance, we can take those strategies and put them into our own life. And so I think visualization is one of those things that people are starting to recognize and see the benefit of it and how it can help you and how it can serve you, the same as meditation.
Okay, so is it important, and I'm glad you just brought up meditation, because as I was going through my notes today, if you're not an active person that practices meditation, can you still be successful with visualization? Do they go hand in hand?
I think so. And I think visualize for someone who's not, who's working on meditation or is new to it or not even doing it, I think visualization can be a great stepping stone to that, because if nothing else, it's teaching you the discipline of taking that time for yourself, of being quiet, to going internal and focusing on what's within you. So I think it can be a great stepping stone to build that ability to meditate, which everyone can do. And at the same time, it can be a great complement to meditation.
It is. Okay, so if you carve out time every day to visualize, how much time do you think, what's that point of time that you need to invest in visualization every day in order for it to start working?
I think the bigger thing over how much time you put into it is how much you believe it.
Ah, good point.
Because, you can visualize and how much action you take. So you can sit and visualize for hours on end, but if you don't believe it, if you don't connect with it, then it's probably not going to happen. If you don't take action on it, it's also not going to happen. And I think, there was a big challenge when The Secret came out, like so many years ago, right? It was, just sit and picture everything or make these vision boards and everything's just going to drop into your life. Well, no, not if you don't still go out there and do the work and put yourself out there for that to happen. So I don't know if there's a perfect amount of time. I'm a big believer in do what you can. If you can only do 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. If you can do 20 minutes, do 20 minutes. Okay. But from what I don't know, if there's any scientifically proven time that this is the best amount of time to do it. So I always just say with my clients, do what you can.
It's interesting. If anybody's familiar with Esther Hicks, are you familiar with Esther Hicks? Yes. I remember that in her book, and I don't remember the exact time, but I think she said she actually does quote a time that's necessary to visualize in order for the energy of the universe to come in and sweep. And I want to say it's 3 minutes. I'm not sure, but I'll look that up because that's an interesting thing that she says. And I make sure, like in the beginning, I used to use a timer because, I was a busy mom. I'm like, this is all I got. I got 3 minutes. We're doing it. And I'm visualizing. But the reason I asked the question about meditation and visualization, and again, you naturally lead me to my next question is, visualization alone doesn't work. If we sit and visualize till the cows come home, they're going to come and take your furniture away, take your home away. So you've got to take action, which is an important thing. But you also in your article talk about inspired action that comes through you. So in visualization, that takes a lot of effort from us visualizing, directing what we want and believing in what we want and connecting to that feeling. So it's a lot of work from us, where meditation is, for me is a way of receiving information, like I start the show. So if you're busy visualizing and not taking time to meditate, how do you welcome those inspired thoughts that allow you to take those actions, not even just allow you, that direct you or guide you, that inner guidance to take the next action?
I think it's having an awareness throughout your day and all, like for me, like meditation doesn't come easily to me the way it does to you, right? Not that it's easy for you, but you're the master meditator in my mind, so I wish we could kind of like blend the two together. But I'm always paying attention during the day I'm very feeling orientated. So I'm always paying attention to the senses that I get within me about things happening or thoughts that I have, and use that. So to me, it's coming to me in that way. I do meditate every day, but as I said, for me, it's not always easy. And so I'm always paying attention during the day, the thoughts that come in and noticing them and how does it make me feel and getting guidance from that.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that I'm the master meditator. I don't consider myself a master. I do meditate every day, but I have to tell you, I think my life is a day in and day out is in a constant state of some kind of meditation. And I remember somebody teaching me that, have you ever been in a car where you've driven from point A to point B and you don't even remember all the roads that you took to get there, like all of a sudden you're there because your mind was someplace else? That is one state of meditation. So when someone told me that, I remembered that, when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm just kind of going through my day to day, that I'm actually in a state of meditation. And because I'm aware of my awareness of it, then I'm also aware of the things that come through. So the messages that come through, and even for this show, are not necessarily brought in from this divine state of Om. It really is okay, universe, we're getting ready to talk about this. What? And all of a sudden, boom, it just comes through me. And I recognize that it's not me. It's a separate part of me, if you will, that comes through. And it happens when I'm talking to somebody. It's a friend that's going through something. They just, Maria, what do you think? And it's something else that comes through. And it's an interesting thing. And I think that comes with practice with meditation. So even with visualization, to start to recognize that the importance of quieting your mind so that you can focus on directing, to not set aside the other things that come through. If your mind starts to go in a place that's taking you to another a connected path to your visualization, that's actually some direction. That's inner guidance coming through. Don't block it because you're busy visualizing. If it's an extension of that and your mind is taking you there, go. I think that's inner guidance, and sometimes we forget that something bigger and a higher power comes in.
And I love what you said about the meditation, that it's you in that state all day, and these things are coming to you. You could be washing the dishes, you could be doing seemingly random things, right? And I think part of that is, it's kind of like why we always get these, these great ideas when you're in the shower.
Yes.
Why is that? It's because you're relaxed. It's because you're out of your head. You're not thinking about anything, and so there's the space. So I know for me, when I exercise, particularly when I'm outdoors, if I go for a power walk or running, to me, that's when things just come in.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of free, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. And, walking in meditation, I think those things all, when you remove yourself and it's almost like a rhythmic thing. Someone taught me once, I think it's in the Jewish religion, where when they meditate, they do this, right? That's actually so that they can focus. It's sort of the same thing as when we walk, when we run, doing dishes, driving. It keeps them focused on what it is that they're saying. It keeps them present and in the now, and keeps the mind from drifting. It keeps them focused in that state, and what they receive is sort of an extension of the place that they are, which is so interesting. Megan, who's part of one of the writers for OWL, did a live the other day, and she called it quaking. That the Quakers believe in this too. That and forgive me if I don't explain this well, but that we're all here to do something special, to deliver a message. It might be short term, it might be the rest of our life. At some point, we're divinely here for some reason, and that we should not get too busy in doing and living this mediocre life, but when that space has been given to you to do something great, that's quaking. That's your moment. That's now. Go for it. And so I kind of wanted to relay that message with visualization, that go for it. When you feel yourself taken, so if you've carved out 3 minutes and it ends up 5 and 10, go for it. Go follow that road. I want to take 2 seconds to acknowledge the fact that my friend Dave Moore is here, that my voice is just fine. He likes it. And I love it. He's been teasing me on my Facebook.
I know. I see that.
So anyway, he says, if you ask someone to think about a person they love and who they hate and point at them, they will be in different places. You mean in your mind that you see them in a different place, Dave? I'm not sure I understand that statement. And then the next thing is, if you see, I can see myself doing that if I can't see myself doing that in my wildest dreams, then if you can't see it in your wildest dreams, then you won't see it in reality. That's true. If you can think it, you can create it. I believe that wholeheartedly. Sean from Shots of Positivity. Sean just started a page. It's a wonderful page. He just celebrated 10,000, and he did his first live last night. So congratulations to you.
Yay, Sean.
That's positivity. And it says, we are an imagination of ourselves. So good. That is so profound. This morning I was talking about our emotions and how they are temporary and that we are forever. Our spirituality, who we are, what we are, is a constant state. And that everything else just kind of comes and goes. And everything is important in the coming and the going. So visualization, even if you're in the funkiest places, to remember, those are all temporary. And the importance of visualization, and that your mind is a very playful ground, and your mind can go anywhere. So let it. And it doesn't matter what state you are in now. Because again, remember that's temporary. That state is temporary. You are forever. Your experiences are constantly going to be changing. So that the importance of moving from a state that you're not particularly pleased with, an important action to get out of that would be visualization. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the other thing with visualization that's so important is whatever you're visualizing is to connect with the feelings that go with that, and to visualize every aspect of whatever it is, not just the final ta-da, whatever. But, if you're visualizing your day, it's visualizing going through the ups, the downs, how you're going to manage those, how you're going to get through those. So it's like non-edit. There's no editing. You kind of want to put yourself in the experience in the realest possible way. And it's the kind of like high definition, right?
Yeah.
What you're going to be wearing, what you're going to be feeling, what are the words that you're going to use. And the more detail you can assign to it, the better.
Awesome.
But then, I just have to keep stressing, you have to go and take action. You have to. If you want to visualize yourself running a marathon, that's great. But if you never get off the couch and go and train, it is not going to happen.
Right.
And just, I think that's so important to remember.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I've said this before in our other shows that sometimes I know the importance of thought, feeling, and action together, that all three have to be on fire. And on fire, like not one more important than the other. When the three are aligned and on fire, that's when things really start to happen. And I think a lot of us fall away from experiencing the positive results that you want because sometimes you don't know what to do. You don't know what action to take. You're not sure how to go about it. But that's not a reason not to do it. So sometimes when I know I need to be more clear, then I create clear surroundings. It might not have anything to do with marathon running or how I'm going to do it. I just got out of this knee surgery or whatever. Just to create the clear space in your surroundings does that. To be able to create a space, we all know that we have to take care of ourselves. And I know that I need to work on that in my voice as well. I go. It's funny because some people wake up like, oh, it's morning. It's time to wake up. When I wake up in the morning, there's no alarm. I'm like, oh, what I missed? Let's go. Right? So, and it doesn't matter if I went to bed at 1 a.m, 4 a.m, my eyes are open, ready to go. So I recognize that I should probably treat my body a little bit more gently, and that I'm probably one who could use a little bit more rest and a little bit more sleep. That being said, when I don't know what to do, when I don't know what action to take, I still know that action is important. So if I know I've got the vision, I've got what it feels, but I don't know what action to take, I take any action. And even if that means cleaning, cluttering, decluttering, because if there's clutter around me, then clarity won't come. What's going on inside of me is a reflection of what's going on outside of me. So I've got to clear the clutter. And I've got to know that my body is healthy in order to take the actions necessary, in order to take me for the long haul. So some of the other things that I do is not just remove the clutter from my bedroom, but create a place that doesn't have a lot to look at. I know that sounds crazy because we're all into decorating and making things beautiful. But sometimes you got to remove all those patterns. You got to remove the busy little things that are around you so that your body has a chance to really not have to look at anything that makes them subconsciously think too much. It allows you to just rest because there's nothing around you that's going to bug you. If you have an alarm clock, set it away from your head. If you're going to read in a chair away from your bed. Keep your space of sleep and rest as quiet and as calm as possible so that you can welcome clarity and start to recognize and start to welcome the path, the energetic path of inspired thought so that you do know what actions to take. So when you do wake up at 4 like I do with the bing, let's go. I wake up, I got to do this today. I know exactly what I need to do today. And 9 times out of 10, my to-do list for the day changes because I've got something that just comes through and I got to do it. And it never fails to take me exactly where I need to go.
And on the flip side of all of this is, the question I get from a lot of my clients is, oh my God, I've been visualizing, I've been doing all of this and nothing's happening, right? And I've had that experience as well. And I think that's where we have to have that trust that as much as we think that's what we need, as much as we think that's what should happen, that's what we want, to believe that it's not right for us. And the universe, or whatever you want to describe that as, has a better plan.
Right.
And not, also not to fight it, because that's not going to work either.
Right. That's exactly right. And sometimes, have you ever noticed when you're doing the visualization and you get that inspired thought for an action, that sometimes the action has nothing to do with what you were visualizing? Have you learned to trust that and go for it anyway, and recognize that it took you down the path you needed to accomplish what it is that you were wanting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, again, it's so, as much as you visualize and you have a vision of what you want or what you're trying to create, is to stay open to possibility. Because, we only know what we know, and the universe knows more than what we know. It can kind of see into the future. So if you don't stay open to possibility, then, and you get so hung up on it being a certain way,
right,
then you miss those cues to do something different, which is most likely going to take you in a better direction for you, even though it may seem not so at the moment.
Yeah. And, for those that are watching this show who are new to visualization, one thing that when I first started this journey that made a really good point to me about trusting visualization and trusting the ability to create what we want is, if you look at your life in the present moment, where you are right now, and think about the last 10 and 20 years, think about the things that you have invested in, the time you've invested in, everything that you've done. All those things in the past lead you to your now. So whether you were practicing visualization or not doesn't matter, because you are in a constant state of visualization. So what you're living now is just you catching up to all the things that you thought and were thinking about in the past. So if you understand that, it's not too late to now create what you want in the future. So start training your mind to think about that, because eventually the results show up. So whatever you want to do later, make sure you thank yourself now for doing it. So start it. It's never too late to start now.
No.
You're already doing it. So like the message was this morning, you're already doing it. It's only important to recognize that you have a choice in the matter. So it doesn't matter what's happening in the past. You are where you are now. Now is the time to start creating for the future and to go for it.
And so that leads to such an important point of now be intentional. As you said, wherever you are, you got there. Whether you realized it or not, you were visualizing things, you were thinking things, or you were not.
Right.
Or you were worrying about things, and what we worry about, we just bring more of into our life.
Right.
So whatever we were doing got us to where we are. But now we know that we can be more intentional with that. We can be more strategic about that and help ourselves along the way, as opposed to kind of getting there by default and maybe not waking up one day and going, how the heck did I end up here? Well, maybe because you weren't intentional and you didn't have a focus of what you were trying to accomplish.
Right. Okay, so the next part of this is, and I've experienced this too, where I am visualizing, I've got everything, all my ducks in a row of what it is that I want to accomplish, right? And I know exactly what I want. But then there's that bump in the road that's a complete opposite of what I've been practicing. It's a complete opposite of what I've been seeing. How do you explain that to clients when I know what I explain to myself, but how do you explain that to clients when they experience that bump in the road, that extreme opposite of what it is that they want to achieve?
My perspective is that's there to help you learn a skill or a strategy or a coping mechanism for what's over the bump. Right? So there's something over that bump that you are going to need this strength. You're going to need this wisdom. You're going to need this experience to help you with something that's over the bump. So to me, it's kind of like a helping hand in a way. If you want to put a positive spin on it, it's like, hey, you're going to need this. It's kind of like, I keep going to marathons today. I don't know why, but they have the water stations. They're giving you the water because they know there's not another one for however long, and you're going to need this.
Right.
So to me, those bumps are an opportunity to kind of strengthen up and kind of get on board what you need for what's coming down the road. And if you can look at it in that way, then you don't get discouraged, you don't give up, you don't get despondent, but you kind of embrace it. And I'm not saying it's easy, and it may not be pleasant as you're going through it.
Right.
But if you can kind of know that in your, in your being, then it helps. It makes it a little bit easier.
I like your perspective. I totally appreciate that, because it does kind of refine where you're going. It might not be pleasant, but it does teach you, and it refines what it is that you want as you're moving. Because we're the director, so we can tweak and refine all we want as we move forward. Going back to Esther Hicks, and I'll look up the time and share that when I find it. I'll have to look for it. But when you invest that time in visualization and you have those bumps in the road, one of the things that Esther Hicks says, or Abraham, depending on who you're listening to, is that those bumps in the road sometimes happen within 30 to 45 days. And so basically what you're visualizing is how I understand it. What you're visualizing, but you start to experience the evidence of what you want between 30 and 45 days after you start constant daily practice of this, right? It's about 30 to 45 days. So any of those bumps in the road that happen between 30 and 45 days sometimes is a reflection of what's happened before you started to do this consciously and directly. It's just sort of the ruffle effects of things just kind of washing themselves up. Eventually it needs to balance itself out, and then you move past the bump and you get back on the road to what it is that you want, and more energy, and the momentum of energy is focused on your visualization.
I love that.
Yeah, she's kind of a neat lady. I actually met her. I don't know if you know that story.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she would never remember who I am by any means, but I did go to one of her, when Esther and Jerry was still alive, they were in Maryland, and I went to go see one of their workshops for the day. I didn't sit on the hot seat. But I did ask her to sign my book, and she didn't.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah, it's the funniest story. I'll actually share it. It's actually kind of funny.
I'd love to.
We were sitting in the audience of probably 500 or more, and I saw Esther Hicks up there. It was during a break. She was by herself. There was no guards or anything, and I had my Ask and It Is Given book, and I said, you know what? This is my chance. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to have her sign it, because I thought the book, it's still one of my favorite books. So I went up and I said, excuse me, Mrs. Hicks, would you mind signing my book? And it was Abraham. And if you've ever watched Esther Hicks, you know that she channels Abraham, and there's definitely a different voice between Esther Hicks and Abraham. And it was Abraham. And Abraham said, no, I'm not signing your book. And I was sort of taken aback, and she just kind of smiled at me, and she said, my signing your book is the same as you signing your book, for you and I are the same. And that was that. And she handed me back my book, and off I went, and I sat down. And at that time, I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, damn, she didn't sign my book. But there was such a profound message, because really we're all connected is what she was saying. But strangely enough, when I sat down and I looked up, like 3 other people got their book signed. And I was like, man, what the heck? And I only attribute it to that being that I got a chance to talk to Abraham in that short, 2-minute exchange probably. And they got Esther. I'm not sure, but it was funny.
Oh my gosh.
That day I remember being kind of mad about it. Now I look back and I think it's funny and so telling and so revealing. And I really appreciate and cherish that moment that I had, because it was before I really embraced that intuitive side of myself and the fact that we're all connected. It was my bump in the road. It was my learning.
Yeah.
It didn't deter me from continuing to go.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome.
So with that, we're at the 11:29. We're wrapping up the show. So we always end the show with what's your biggest takeaway? Thank you so much, because you are the master visualizer. So I know that you
I don't know if I'm a master. I love it.
I love do it. All right. So tell me, what is your biggest takeaway today?
You really have to go within with this and feel the feelings of the visualization, and kind of like sink into it, like just feel it. I think to me that's so important. It's such an important part of it, besides obviously then taking the action, because to me that's like a no-brainer, but it's, to me, it's the feeling that you can connect at the same time with that visualization that's going to me, it's kind of like going to catapult it forward.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is what you said about, I love your analogy of the marathon, that you need to stop and drink water so that you can go for the long haul, and that those bumps in the road are opportunities to refine your skill, you're supposed to learn something so that you can really accomplish what it is that you want in that visualization. I love that. When you were saying that, I was actually visualizing the reason why people that win the lottery lose the money so quickly. You know, they didn't have those bumps in the road to teach them to go. Sometimes millionaires have been through bankruptcy before they finally become millionaires and learn something through that bankruptcy, and they manage. And it's the people that really have gone through something that have learned. When you see them at the top, it's usually not that overnight success. It's 20 years and more that they've invested in the bumps in the road. So I love that when you associated that with visualization.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, so that is the end of our show. I so appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Back next week, same time, same place, 11 a.m. on Thursday, right here on Blab. And we'll let you know what we're going to talk about. I'm not sure what it is yet, but we're always inspired, and it's always beautiful and perfect. And I thank everybody who's watched us here today live. Sean, thank you for being here. Dave, thank you for being here. I saw people jump on as well through here. I don't have your names in front of me, but thank you for investing your time. It pushes us to do better as well next time, and we keep providing more value to help you create the life you love. Check out Lauren on Lauren Jono on Facebook. She's a public figure. She's got some great insight, great posts. I'm the Facebook page owner of One Wise Life and the creator of OneWiseLife.com, where you'll find articles written by me and a lot from Lauren, which I love, and they've been really the foundation of a lot of our shows. So I appreciate you. With that,
awesome.
Great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.